y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brianna if you're new, and today is going to be a new teacher, first year teacher Q&A. If you guys don't know, I'm beginning my first year as a 9th grade English teacher during this pandemic, so things are pretty crazy right now. Last week I uploaded my first week of work vlog, and I also asked you guys for questions for this video. If you haven't seen that one, it will be linked down below, as well as some other videos like how I'm becoming a teacher, and I also have an entire playlist on my substitute teaching experience. So let's get straight into this Q&A. So my first day of class is actually tomorrow, so all of these questions are from the perspective of not having actually had my first day of teaching yet. So keep that in mind as I answer these questions, and I'll try to answer everything, but I don't want this video to be super long. How do you feel about being the newbie teacher? So on my team, which is just 9th grade English, I'm the only new person on the team. In the entire English department at my school, it's me and one other teacher, and I believe for the entire school there might be 8 or 9 new teachers, so there's actually not a lot. My school is pretty big. I think there's about 27 English teachers and maybe around 200 teachers, so there are a lot of teachers there. How do I feel? Lots of people on my team have a lot of experience, so I feel good having a support system. There's also tons of teachers at my school that have been teaching for longer than I've been alive, so I feel like I have a lot of great resources. Any particular reason you chose high school level? What are pros and challenges? So before I accepted this job, I was a sub for almost a year. I tried grade levels 5 through 12 and definitely knew that I wanted to do high school. Middle school was a maybe for me, 7th and 8th grade, but high school was just, the content was really what I wanted to teach. I liked being able to have more mature conversations and help kids get into their adult life, going to college. I just love the whole aspect of that age where you're really figuring out who you are, you're getting ready to go off on your own, and so I knew that I wanted to do high school. I would definitely say if you want to teach, try subbing or maybe just go observe a classroom to kind of get a feel for what you want to do, but I knew that I wanted to teach high school. And then some of the pros and challenges. So like I said, I haven't actually had my first day of teaching yet, but just from my experiences from these few days of work, also from subbing, I think some of the challenges are being young. I feel like sometimes some students or even parents might not take you as seriously as a young teacher versus somebody who's older and more experienced. Some of the pros, I think that you're more relatable to the kids because you literally were in their shoes not that long ago. You can remember what it was like when you were in high school and kind of relate to them more, and so I think those are some of the pros of teaching high school. How do you feel about your first year of teaching starting virtually instead of in a traditional classroom setting? So right now, as of today, but things are changing every single day and week, my school's plan is to be virtual for the first 4 weeks, and then we're supposed to go back to school then. So how do I feel about my first year being virtual? It's very difficult. Honestly, it makes things a lot more difficult, but I'm definitely prepared for a challenge, and I know that it's going to be harder than it would be if I would be in a physical classroom. Your first year of teaching is always super hard and stressful. You don't know what to do. Everything's new. You're feeling nervous, and on top of that, I'm having to learn how to make things engaging online, make them accessible for all kids, figure out how to work Zoom and Canvas and all these different websites, and all of that stuff is just a lot, and so it definitely so far feels overwhelming, but I've been doing a lot of prepping this weekend, so hopefully I'll be following up and telling you guys how my first week of teaching goes. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. Obviously, the current situation that we're in, I think it's definitely safer for students, parents, staff, teachers to not go back into the classroom so early. I know there are some states that have already started school and the cases are still rising, so I am only focusing on things that I can control, and kind of just my theme for this year is just to roll with the flow, and whatever punches are thrown, I'll figure out how to deal with them. So yeah, I'm definitely kind of overwhelmed, but I don't have a choice of what's going on, and so my goal is just to make it as easy for the kids as possible and make sure that we still accomplish what needs to be done. Do you think teachers get paid enough? And this person in parentheses says, I don't. I agree with you. Teacher salary is definitely not what it should be, but it varies so much by state, by city, by your district, and so where I work, actually the salary is not that bad compared to other parts of Texas and other states in comparison to the cost of living. But all in all, I do think teachers need to get paid more. As I'm learning, there's a lot of hours of work that go in outside of those contract hours. I've been spending all weekend working on preparing for my first day. I think yesterday I was 5 hours deep into planning and had just barely gotten through the first day of school. So I definitely think that, especially now with this pandemic, people are realizing the value of teachers. They definitely do need to get paid more, especially when you throw in the cost of living. So like teachers in expensive cities definitely need to get paid more. What will your approach be to behavior management? So that is going to look a bit different virtually versus in the classroom. I've had a lot of different trainings and I've read a lot of different articles and watched videos and kind of am just taking piece by piece from what I've learned from other teachers. And I definitely want to incorporate, I just went mind blank. Positive reinforcement and incentives to motivate kids to want to do better, come to class prepared, engage, participate. I definitely don't believe in that type of approach that's just like don't do this, don't do that, and a bunch of punishments. I really want to try to avoid negative behavior from the beginning and really just encourage with positive reinforcement. Are you worried about students finding your channel? I wouldn't say worried, but it's not exactly something that I would like to happen, but I watch so many other teachers on YouTube. It's inevitable that some students eventually are going to come across my channel, but all of my content I'm okay with anyone seeing. That's the approach you should take no matter what platform, if it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any social media, anything on the internet. Whatever you post, you need to do that with the assumption that anybody can see it. So if you wouldn't want your students, your parents, your employers, your friends, anybody to see that, then you just shouldn't post that in general. So I would actually say no, I'm not worried. I'm actually proud of my channel, and making videos is what keeps me sane. So yes, I'm okay with kids finding my channel, but I did try to make it a little bit harder. If you've been following me for a while, I used to have my last name as part of my channel, but it changed. So Are you nervous since it's your first year of teaching? Yes, very nervous. Tomorrow is my first day of class, but I think I'm just going to try to be calm, and it's gonna be awkward meeting kids on Zoom. Like, there's just no way around that. I wish I could meet them face to face, but it is what it is, and I'm just gonna try to relax today, prepare as much as possible to kind of calm my nerves. How much do they start off paying teachers in high school? It depends on, again, your state, your district, the city. Most teachers, I think elementary through high school, get the same pay grade. I could be wrong, but for my school district, it's the same pay grade no matter what level. It just depends on your years of experience. And I'm not going to say exactly how much my salary is, but if you want to look up for a certain school district, most of that can be found online. It's public information. What made you decide to be a teacher? Why did you choose that subject and grade level? So I decided to become a teacher. I actually made a whole video about my experience, but just a quick summary is that I was a journalist and it just wasn't the right thing for me, so I moved back home. I have a cousin who's been a first grade teacher, and she suggested becoming a sub just to kind of make some money while I figure out what I wanted to do. While I was subbing, I just really felt like that was where I wanted to be, like in the classroom working with kids. Every single day was different, and just being on my toes all the time was really what I loved, and so I decided to become a teacher. As far as choosing my subject and grade level, I always knew that I wanted to teach English, so I've always loved reading and writing, and as a journalism major, I did a lot of that stuff in school. I actually kind of came down when I was in high school between majoring in English versus journalism, but in English major, most of them either become teachers or it's kind of just like a huge question mark, and so I chose journalism just because I wasn't really sure what I could do with an English major, but I definitely knew that when I wanted to teach, that was the subject I wanted to do. I also got certified to teach journalism just because that's my background and my degree experience. And what grade? So after subbing, I knew I wanted to do high school, but I did not get to specifically pick my grade for this job. Is it difficult to find a job in the school system as a teacher? Right now, I would say no. Lots of teachers, because of coronavirus, were retiring, and so there were so many jobs open. Even before this, just for where I live in Texas, there were constantly new jobs because teachers were either switching schools, retiring, moving up in administration. It honestly depends on where you're looking, but I would say no. There are always a lot of jobs in teaching, and there's always a need for more teachers. You mentioned your certification program charges a fee during the first year you teach. What will your take-home pay minus the fee be? So again, I'm not comfortable saying the exact dollar amount of my salary, but I will say that I believe for my program, they have a fee that's about $4,300, and they break that up into 12 months for your first year of teaching. This fee is kind of similar to like a semester of college. It's for all of my coursework, my training, and all the other things that they give me as services. And so I think, let me just do the math. I think it's going to be about $400 a month. Between like $350 and $400 a month is taken out of my check before I get it, and then the remainder is what I will actually get to take home. Is working in the education field isolating? Definitely not, because you're constantly having to collaborate. Without my other people on my team, I would not have even figured out how to prepare for the first day. There's constant collaboration between yourself and your other teachers, the administration, you're connecting with kids, with parents. I honestly think that this job is so much communication. But as far as the current situation for COVID, the only thing that has been isolating is not actually getting to physically meet people. I have gone up to my school a few times with my mask on and met a couple of people, but mostly I've met them through my laptop screen. And then once I start teaching, I'm going to be teaching either alone here in my bedroom or alone in my classroom at school. So I think that that would be the only aspect that's isolating, but hopefully things will eventually go back to normal. How do you feel about distance learning? I think I answered that with the first question, but it's not ideal, but I am just going to focus on things that I can control. The kids are so excited to go back to school. They're nervous just like me. I have freshmen, so imagine starting high school online. It's kind of weird, and so I know that it's weird for all of us, and I'm just going to do the best I can to make sure that they are able to learn and have as much fun and engagement as possible. Are you going to be a strict teacher or not? To a certain extent, you have to be strict to kind of set those rules and guidelines, but I'm not going to go in on day one and try to scare anybody. My personality is just kind, nice, and friendly, but there are boundaries and things that have to be set in place. So I'm going to say no, but I'm definitely going to be firm with my guidelines and expectations. Okay, so those were all the questions. Thank you guys if you posted a question. And again, I have not yet had my first day as a teacher in the classroom, so I think I'm going to vlog either the whole entire first week, maybe the first day, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you do subscribe below. I know that it's been forever since I sat down in this setup and filmed. I was super busy doing all of this prep work to start school. I promise you guys that I'm going to try my best throughout this school year to post at least one video every single week, maybe two if I have time, but just keep in mind that I'm a first year teacher teaching during a pandemic. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you in my next video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, your week, your month, and a great rest of 2020. Let's try to make it as positive as possible. Bye guys.